Well, hey, welcome to the Crossroads experience. One of the things I love about being part of Crossroads is that there's often more going on in this community and through this team than you could ever know about. And I got two guests here that I really am excited for you to meet. This is Kim and Grant, who are part of Crossroads prison ministry called 4-7. What are each of your roles? How did you get involved in it?
Okay, I am the executive director of 4-7, and I actually got involved through volunteering. The 4-7 was looking for volunteers to go into the prisons to help facilitate Undivided. And so I signed up and I've been there ever since.
So I'm the founder. My wife and I accidentally founded this prison ministry. We say accidentally on our terms. God had big plans. What was started as just a class with 16 guys in Lebanon Correctional has turned into this with 28,000 people.
28,000 people is genuinely, like, that's mind-blowing to me. And I know that there's not 28,000 individuals, that's 28,000 who are in community with each other. And we recently changed our website because we recognized, like, these are legitimate communities of Crossroads, and we wanted to reflect that. How many communities are there, and what's going on in them?
We are currently in 7 state prisons around Ohio, and actually also we're in Lexington now with our Crossroads there. And so we are in 7 prisons, meaning that we go in and we are Crossroads anywhere at those locations. So we go in, we have worship, we serve the message, and we're doing Empire here. We're doing Empire inside the prisons as well. Afterwards, we're doing the chasers, we're getting into small groups, and we're building community inside those institutions.
Of the folks who come to service in the Ohio Reformatory for Women, 55% of those women give, and they give an average of 28% of their income.
And I think if we missed that story, that's up on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube, yep.
You would know, Grant's also our social media director, so I'm looking at Grant like, is it? Yeah,
it's
it
100%
is,
on
right? Okay,
YouTube,
cool.
yes. Yeah, and not just that, but IKR, our podcast with Allie and Latasha, they just dropped a new episode this past Wednesday, which can be found on iTunes and on anywhere podcasts are found, but is recorded with an inmate who's a part of our community in Dayton Correctional, just talking about how she had to go to prison to find true freedom. So
you two clearly, this isn't like something you have to do. You have a heart for folks in prison, our community members who are currently incarcerated. What does it mean to you guys personally to be part of this?
Wow, I'd say for me, it means a lot. I happen to believe that God sometimes uses those things that pain us the most to draw our hearts to exactly where he wants us to be. The things that break his heart break our hearts too. But sometimes that hits a little bit closer to home. And so I have personal family experience with someone that I love being incarcerated, and knowing that we have an opportunity to reach out to families, to reach out to individuals that are experiencing that definitely has personal meaning for me.
Is this so we have to fight our way in? Or like, how are we being received by governments like the state of Ohio and Kentucky and others?
So we have been asked by the majority of the 27 prisons in Ohio to have Crossroads there.
Wow.
We're not there because we haven't had the opportunity. We just don't have, Kim and I can't go everywhere. We still want to be married to our spouses and have them love us. And so we just haven't been able to get to all 27 of them, but they are hungry and ready for it.
I'm watching this and I'm moved. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I get involved?
Well, we have quarterly trainings. And so we do have a training that's coming up in November the 17th. And so you can go out on Crossroads, crossroads.net/prison ministry. It will lead you to the information to sign up for a training session. In the training session, not only will you find out more about the 4-7 and what we do, but also what that looks like to go inside the prison, what that experience is like.
Amazing. What God's doing is absolutely incredible. If you want to be part of that, crossroads.net/prison ministry. We're going to continue on in our series called Empires, and we're going to start with worship.
Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? If we haven't met, my name is Austin. I'm one of the worship leaders here at Crossroads, and I'm here with a few of my friends. This is Chris, Rhea, and Ron. I love them. They are so great. You're probably in a living room with some of your friends right now. And man, before we dive into any content, we're going to spend some time worshiping a little bit. And I want to invite you into that. So wherever you're at, you might have a coffee with you. Turn the volume up. We're just going to spend some time reprioritizing things in our lives that maybe we've put above God. And we want to say, hey, like, we want to put you first. We want to focus all of our attention towards you. So I want to invite you into that. God, I just ask that you would be in the midst of this worship right now, that you would speak to us in a language that you can understand. You would feel honored and glorified. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no one like you. Rejoice, he's won the battle for the saints. Rejoice because all heaven knows your name. Rejoice, the sin is powerless today. Sing hallelujah, what a Savior. Rejoice because he chose to make us king. Rejoice because your life has been redeemed. Rejoice because he lives in you and me. Sing hallelujah, what a Savior. We sing this out. It is finished, it is done. Heaven's love poured out on us. Separated, now we're one. Sing hallelujah, what a Savior. Yeah. Whoa. Rejoice because the kingdom is at hand. Rejoice because his peace will rule the land. Rejoice because our God became a man. We sing hallelujah, what a Savior. We sing it is finished. It is finished, it is done. Heaven's love poured out on us. Separated, now we're one. Sing hallelujah, what a Savior. We sing that again. It is finished, it is done. Heaven's love poured out on us. Separated, now we're one. Sing hallelujah, what a Savior. Oh, what a Savior, what a friend. Today's the day he's made. I'm gonna rejoice and I'll be glad in it. I lift up my voice. Today's the day he's made. I'm gonna rejoice and I'll be glad in it. I lift up my voice. Today's the day he's made. I'm gonna rejoice and I'll be glad in it. I lift up my voice. Today's the day he's made. I'm gonna rejoice and I'll be glad in it. called a finish. That's what that is. I love it, man. Well, I love what that bridge says. It says, today's the day the Lord has made. We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. It's straight from Scripture, and I love that because it sets the tone for what we're saying to Him, And I know I probably can't speak for all of us, but I know one thing I love to do is I love to set expectations. I love to set expectations for the Lord and just say, hey, man, whatever it is that you want to do, I don't want to reduce you to what I think you're capable of. I want you to do exactly what you want to do in my life. Like there are situations I know in my life where I haven't been able to control things. I haven't been able to control certain things, but I know that He's able to. I mean, have you guys kind of been in that spot before? Yeah. And so this song, man, it is one that was written just out of saying like, hey, we want to just say thank you. We want to just say thank you and just declare, man, like you are who you say you are, and you are able to do greater things. And so I just want to start off by just singing this down chorus. It goes like this. Thankful, I am thankful. When I cannot, you are able. We sing that again. Thankful, I am thankful, yes I am. When I cannot, you are able. When the weight is heavy, when the fears are many, I find peace beyond what I can see. Though my life's at midnight, you break through with daylight, and I find strength, a firm security. When I'm at the end, when I'm at the end of my own road, you've given me a future and thankful, yes I am. When I cannot, you are able. Thankful, I am thankful every moment. When I cannot, you are able. When my needs crying, when my needs cry anthems, like a path needs lanterns, I find peace beyond what I can see. Although the war is mounted and I am surrounded, I find strength, a firm security. When I'm at the end, oh, when I'm at I find strength, a firm security. Though the war is mounted and I am surrounded. Oh, I find strength, a firm security. I find you. Oh, I find you, my firm security. Yes. Oh, we say thankful. I am thankful. Yes, I am. When I cannot, you are able. Thankful. I am thankful. In every situation when I cannot, you are able. When I cannot, you are able. When I cannot, you are able. Thankful, I am thankful. When I cannot, you are able. Thankful, I am thankful. When I cannot, you are able. Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. His love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. We sing who the sun sets free. Oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, you are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Let's sing that again. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. God, I'm thankful that you call us your kids. You call us worth it. You sent your son to die probably the most gruesome death one could imagine, so that we could have eternal life. Sometimes I can't wrap my head around that, but it's pretty clear that you think we're worth it. My ask is that we would be able to see that, to know it, because the more we come to know you, the more we come to trust you. And I want all of us to take a step towards you, a step towards trust, trusting who you are. So speak to us today in a language that we can understand. It's in your name I pray. Amen. Oh, that was nice.
Like that?
Oh, I love it. Man, I love getting to worship with you guys, and it's fun getting to worship with you guys, too. It's fun. That's cool. Well, hey, we're going to continue on with our series. Glad you're here.
Well, hey, I'm Kyle. If I didn't say that earlier, so glad that you're with us. I want to help you get the most out of your Crossroads experience. And the first thing that you need to know is that Crossroads is so much more than this video. We're a community and we're a team that you can be part of. When I first joined the Crossroads community and team 12, 13 years ago, one of the first things I did was I went on our very first Go trip. Go trips are an unbelievable experience. It's where you literally get to go to another part of the world to serve people who are very different than you. And in the process, you not only change their lives, your life gets changed. If you've never been on one, I don't know how to describe it other than to say it has literally changed my life. I met some of my very best friends to this day were on that trip with me. That's a trip that I went on with my then girlfriend, and by the time the trip was over, I was returning with somebody who God had said, this is your wife. I don't know if this is going to happen to you. I'm not promising anything there at all. I'm just saying it's unbelievable what God does when you step out and when you go. So if you want to do that, go to crossroads.net/go. Hey, maybe God has been working on you for a while and changing your life. And you might have recently come to a spot in your life where you've been like, you know what? I'm in. I believe that Jesus is who he claims to be, and I want to follow him with my life. If that's you, your next step is this thing called baptism. Baptism is kind of weird. If you've ever seen videos of it, it's like people going underwater and then coming out of the water. You might have been like, what's that about? That's a moment where somebody is publicly declaring to themselves, to God, and to everybody else who can see, I am following Jesus. I am dying to my old life going under the water, and I'm raising to a new life of following Jesus. If that's you and that's something you want to do, man, do it. You can find out all the information you need at crossroads.net/baptisms, no matter who you are, where you live. We want to help make that happen for you. If you're part of Crossroads, you've been part of the community for a while, you may be ready to take a step to join the team at Crossroads. The team, there is no formal application process. The team at Crossroads is just the team who so believe in the mission and movement of what God's doing at Crossroads that we actually put our skin in the game, we put our money where our mouth is, and we give to fund this thing. If you've never done it before, you can do that today. You can go to crossroads.net/give, make a one-time gift or set up a recurring gift. And when you do that, you'll be part of the team that literally is changing the world, that's funding the infrastructure to send people to other parts of the world, like a Go trip, or to fund things that happen like the prison ministry that we heard about earlier with Kim and Grant. If you skipped that part, you should totally jump backwards and watch it. It's unbelievable what God is doing through this team called Crossroads. So pumped that you're with us. We're going to continue on right now with our series called Empires.
Here, kitty. All of us worship something. You and I need to reserve our highest affections for the only one who creates, that's God himself.
In Rome, we love football. We love every kind of football.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
They were worshipers.
Yeah.
Worshipers of football.
Looking back, and I worshipped status. Ha! I wanted to be the next Springsteen.
What did that get you? If you worship body beautiful,
it will eat you alive. You find something that'll die for you, you find something that brings hope in life, that is worth worshiping. I'm Brian Tome, and this is my friend and co-worker, Austin Livingood. We've come halfway around the world to explore and learn from the empire of ancient Rome, the empires around us today, and decide where we will place our trust. Will we place our trust in an ancient empire that's obviously gone? Will we place our trust in a modern empire known as the United States of America? Or will we place our trust in an eternal empire known as the Kingdom of God? This is Empires.
Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen.
We're here in Rome with our Roman guide and archaeologist, Francesca, who's the original taste tester for the Frappuccino.
Oh, the Frappuccino.
Yeah. A woman of many skills. Where are we right now, Francesca?
We are in front of the Pantheon. The Pantheon, it was a pagan temple, a Roman temple, erected first time in the first centuries before Christ, and then redone by Adrian in the second centuries.
My gosh, this is just, I mean, these columns here.
Yeah.
Are they solid?
Our granite columns, they came from Egypt. And our monolithic columns, one block of marble.
One block?
Yes.
You said the emperor who did this was Hadrian?
Adrian, yes.
Adrian.
The Emperor Adrian.
All right, let's see if he might still be home. Yo, Adrian! You in there, Adrian? Yo, Adrian! All right,
Okay.
come on.
I help you.
You doing some river dancing there?
Hey,
Is that what that was?
We better shut this door so that like no one comes in on us. I don't want the Avon lady coming in and just. My goodness! Now, Francesca, what was this place used as?
It was, first of all, a temple, a pagan temple where the sacrifice or as a worship. So the people came here and was dedicated to the pagan gods. But till the beginning of the 7th centuries, when the pagan temple of the Pantheon was converted in a church.
Wow, so it's been a church?
Yeah, and then a kind of mausoleum where the important people were buried.
Francesca, this might be a dumb question. How about you like
that might be the first funny thing you said this entire time. The first one, yeah.
It's a good spot for dumb questions. Yeah.
You know, what's the significance? I feel like this is right underneath.
Yes, because here the dome, the dome of the Pantheon, is not an ordinary dome. It was the first dome, the largest dome, but especially a dome with a hole. The hole is called the eye, and it's not protected by a glass. And so when rains in the Pantheon too.
How big is this?
It's 142 feet.
Jesus.
It's a perfect sphere. We are now exactly in the center of the floor of the Pantheon.
So if you took a 142-foot ball, it would drop in here perfectly.
Perfectly, yes, exactly.
Amazing
perfectly here.
architecture.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at what it means to have faith, what it means to actually worship. I'm in a place of worship in ancient Rome. This is the Pantheon. Pantheon. Pan means all. Theon, gods. All the gods. In Roman culture, they would have memorials to all the different gods in this place, which they were to worship and give their affections to. And in Roman culture, it wasn't so much that they had this great belief in these gods, that they had this sort of heartfelt love for these gods. It was a contractual arrangement. It was the belief that if I do this, then the gods should do this. If I don't do that, then the gods shouldn't do that. It was completely contractual quid pro quo. Every culture, every empire has a religion. Some of them are monotheism, there is one God. Monotheism, there is one God. Some of them are pantheism, there are many gods. Some of them are polytheism, everything is God. But every empire that I've ever seen has some core spiritual belief, something that causes you to do what you do and to give glory to some entity outside of yourself so that you can have the life that you want. Because if I do this, the gods have to do that. America is really no exception to this. We used to be a monotheistic culture, believing in the Judeo-Christian idea of who God was. There's increasingly fewer people who line up with the Judeo-Christian monotheistic idea, but nonetheless, in America, we still operate by this contractual understanding with God, whether it's contracting with the God of the Bible or contracting with any other God. And our belief is, if I do this, then God should do that for me. Some of us worship our bodies. We worship our physical health. And if you want to find somebody who's really upset, find somebody who has cancer. All of us should be upset when we have cancer. But if you find somebody who's had this contractual arrangement with the God of their health, and they haven't smoked, they haven't done coffee, they work out 4 times a day or 4 times a week, they wear the right stuff, they eat organic, and then that person comes down with cancer, the worldview is detonated because I held up my view, I held up my end of the bargain, so was thoughts. So why is this stuff happening to me? And bitterness comes in. Most atheists in America that I interact with are atheists because they're bitter that the contract wasn't fulfilled by what they thought God should do. Most atheists I interact with are very angry. They're angry at the lot of life. They're angry with something that's taken place in their life because they didn't deserve it. Because I did this, and so therefore the God or gods should do this for me. But let's make no mistake about it. Every single person worships. If you're an atheist, you worship, and I'll allow atheists to speak for themselves instead of me speak for atheists. I'll just like to quote David Foster Wallace, a well-known atheist who ended his life later with suicide. Before he did that, here's what he said. In the day-to-day trenches of adult life, there is no such thing as atheism. And an outstanding reason for choosing some sort of God or spiritual type thing to worship, be it Jesus Christ or Allah, be it Yahweh or the Wiccan Mother Goddess or the Four Noble Truths or some infrangible set of ethical principles, is that pretty much anything else you worship will eat you alive. He's saying that if you worship Body Beautiful, it will eat you alive. It is bondage to keep yourself in tip-top physical health and expecting that God to always take care of you. If you worship at the altar of the stock market, it will eat you alive because every blip or every correction will utterly crush your identity. If you worship at the picture of Family Beautiful, the first time your child gets busted with weed, it will crush you because you thought you did everything and now this is happening. All of these false gods will let us down. In fact, any God, even the true God will let you down if you think He's bound to do certain things because of your contractual obligation to Him. One of the gods that we have in America is America. When I was telling people about this series that we were doing and setting up the premise that Rome as an ancient empire went away, and if we were into any earthly empire, it will go away. And as I explained that America is an earthly empire, it will go away. It's just a matter of time. My goodness, the blowback. Whew, the blowback I got was pretty profound. People thinking I was insulting our country, people thinking I wasn't valuing the work of our veterans. I'm so thankful for our veterans. I'm so thankful for our country. I'm very thankful to live in our country. I wouldn't want to live any place else than in America. And I don't worship America. America will not satisfy my soul. America will not be transcendent. America will not be eternal. And if you're uncomfortable about any of this sort of talk, guess what? Your God is America. That's your God is. This is call it out. You're worshiping America. And that's why elections are so massive for those of us who worship America. Because my preferred God, the leader of my kingdom, isn't the one I wanted, whether it was somebody on the right or whether it's somebody on the left. And every national crisis actually becomes a faith crisis. Because the thing I'm standing on, the thing I'm worshiping, the thing that I'm giving my affections is letting me down. All of these gods, every last one that was in here, they're all gone. In fact, we can't even see their statues anymore. We've forgotten who these gods are in here. And someday, we will forget who the United States is. There's one God that has never been forgotten and will never be forgotten. He is the King of an eternal empire. His name is Jesus. And when we give him our affections, it's not a contract where he promises to do certain things for us in a quid pro quo way. It's a covenant. He actually enters into a beautiful relationship with us that taps into the best things in our heart. Doesn't guarantee the best things will always happen in our life, but taps into the best things in our heart. He's someone who is worthy of our affections. I'm in one of the older sections of Rome, a place that has amazing history. When you think about Rome, you gotta think about Caesar, kind of one and the same things. And right here in this area is where a critical thing in the nation of Rome, the Empire of Rome, in the life of Caesar took place. You can see these ruins, these are old basilicas. Right tucked under this road someplace is where those famous lines were uttered that we learned in 5th grade. Et tu, Brute? Et tu, Brute? When Caesar said to his friend, and you too, Brutus? This is where Caesar was killed, right here. Now, when he died, for years afterward, people who worshiped him and adored him would come here to pay him homage and would worship him. This was a place of worship. In this area, not only was Brutus doing his work on Caesar, but this is the place where kitty cats come. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Cats have come here, all kinds of like gnarly, ugly cats. I just saw one before that was limping around on 3 legs. And it's kind of sad. And there's people who have feline fixations, almost feline fetishes that will come here and feed the kitty cats because they're fixated on cats. I have a cat, Frank is his name. I'm not fixated on him, but I appreciate him, but I am fixated on motorcycles, camping gear. Oh my gosh, I love camping. Woodwork is another thing for me that I fixate on. Moved into a new house and I've been making furniture out of old reclaimed wood, and so I'm thinking, all right, what am I gonna do here? I'm gonna have a 12-inch planer. Yeah, am I doing a 3-blade or a 2-blade? I'll take the 3-blade, thank you very much. I'll think about woodworking stuff. I even think about growing the church that I'm a part of. I fixate on how do I reach people, how do we grow people. All of these things can be really great things to get our mind off our normal day-to-day life, but if we're not careful, the things that we fixate on can also be things that we worship. Having a fixation as defined as an intense avocation that gets our mind off the grind of life and is a bit fun, that's one thing. But when it comes to the place where it's all we think about, where all our money revolves around it, where all of our joy is popped up in this thing, it becomes worship. It becomes the thing that has captured our affections and defines our life and defines the amount of joy we have. And all of us have something that's like this. In the book of Romans, chapters 1 and 2, it says this: "For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. Claiming to be wise, they become fools and exchange the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. Therefore, God gave them up in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Caesar was a creature, and people worshiped him as if he were the Creator. These cats are creatures, and yet some people worship them as if they are the Creator. You and I need to reserve our highest affections and our greatest passions for the only one who creates. That's God Himself, who's created Caesar, who's created cats, who's created artisans who could create things like this, and has created you and I. That is an entity that's worth not just fixating on, He's worth worshiping. The problem with worshiping anything other than the Creator God is all those things will let us down. Caesar died. All these cats died. You could worship the United States of America. Guess what? The United States was created, doesn't create, and someday the United States will go away. And yet if you worship a specific political party and your heart revolves around that, or specific ideology around what America is, you will be disappointed. Everything other than the Creator of God will ultimately let you down. It's just a matter of time. This is why Paul said in the book of Romans, chapter 5, "For while we were still weak, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person one would dare even to die. But God shows His love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Caesar never died for anybody. He had people killed. He died, but he never willingly laid down his life for anybody. My motorcycle will rust, but it will never die on behalf of love for me. It will die, but not on behalf of love for me. My table that I built, it will have termites, I will have splinters. My identity might be changed if I worship any of those things, but to be really clear, none of those things will love me. None of those things will lay their life down for me. None of those things have the ability to alter and to change world history. 2,000 years later, Caesar is just a footnote. He's a plaque on a wall in Rome. He doesn't affect the trajectory of the world at all today. But the one who's worthy of being worshiped has, the one who's laid down his life, Jesus. Now, many people have laid down their lives. They're called martyrs. But we don't remember them 2,000 years later. We don't worship them, but we do worship that thing which changes our identity, and that's what Jesus does. One martyr in America, great martyr, his name is Martin Luther King. I have a friend who's an older African-American pastor, and he said, "Brian, Martin died for my rights, but Jesus died for my wrongs." That is who God is. He lays down His life when He doesn't have to, because you and I have gotten the remnants of the things that we've worshiped all over us, and this has affected our identity. It's who we are, and He still lays down His life for you and I. You find something that'll die for you. You find something that's been worshiped for 2,000 years. You find something that brings hope in life. That thing, you better give your affections to. Every country has its own national pastime or national obsession. In Italy, it is sports, or specifically football. Actually, the proper word is soccer.
Let's make it happen. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready for this?
I'm ready. So we decided to join forces with Paco and May, who work with our student ministry team, to show some Italians how we roll. I'm Brian. Good to meet you.
Austin.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, hold on. I just record. This is like, look at these faces. It's very, very sad. Long lost brother.
Now we go to the field and we play 5 versus 5, okay? I play with you.
You're coordinated. Oh, I'm good, okay.
Cercate di non entrare, raga, Cercate di non entrare. Falli giocare.
Oh!
Ancora, gira ancora. In Rome, we love football. We love every kind of football.
Go! Go!
Okay.
Feel free to.
We just scored a goal, and no one on our team can breathe.
The good thing of football is a team sport. So everybody can play. So you can play at 50 years, you have 60 years, 70 years. It's a sport. It's a sport for all the people.
I play a lot of FIFA. It's my favorite. Yeah, eat a lot of Ritz crackers. I can't talk right
now. I got a feeling it's about to get ugly down here.
Uh-oh. Would you say that football is the most important thing to Italians?
Yes, of course. Like, with the food, maybe is the best. It's the most important thing.
Food, football, one of those things. Let's keep it going. Ah! What about faith or God? Is there any love for God in this country?
It's important for all the religions because in Italy we have Christian, Jewish, Muslim. So, but maybe food is the most important thing.
And God's down there.
Yes, but it's a different kind of importance in our life. We live for football.
I was like, no mas. Oh, that's Spanish. No, come on. Whatever, no more. Great job, amazing.
Thank you.
Well done. That was great.
Italy 3, States 2.
Well, after that butt kicking, Austin and I went back to the hotel room to nurse our wounds and do a little debriefing.
Cool. Another good day. You look like you're limping there.
Well, this is what happens when you get your ass handed to you.
What are you talking about? We put up a great fight.
We did put up a great fight. And I'm hurting. That was the first goal I've had since my mom gave me orange slices and Capri Suns after our games.
Yeah, well, those dudes were into it.
Dude, yeah. They came in, they were just like, bag down, business time.
Did you hear what the one guy said when I was interviewing him? He said it's food, football, and then God.
Wow.
In fact, I even had to push him on the God. He wouldn't even include that. It's just like he said, in Italy, it's food and football. They were worshipers.
Yeah.
Worshipers of football.
Yeah.
I was talking earlier about some of my temptations to worship things that shouldn't be worshipped. Do you have any temptations in your area for that?
Oh yeah. I played music for a long time, started around 15 years old, traveling. We signed to a label and we were featured on all kinds of different magazines, J14, Alternative Press. Music video was played in malls across the US. Looking back, I can definitely say man, I worshiped status. It was not unusual for people to ask firsthand, not how are you doing, how's the band? That quickly became not just the thing I worshipped, I think it became my identity.
Yeah, it became everything wrapped up.
No, yeah.
So when did that thing go away then?
We were together maybe 2 years, and I would even say after that, I feel like I was still chasing it. Part of me still longs for it, and that's a thing I'm constantly living in tension with and having to battle.
What do you think? It's a bad thing that you're still chasing after it?
I think it's a bad thing to chase after status. I couldn't make a living. None of us could make a living on what we were doing. The worst job I ever had came before I gave everything to God. Specifically, there was this job that I was working. I would go in and get yelled at every day. One day, I actually got so frustrated that I went out to my truck, skipped lunch break, and I yelled at God for all 30 minutes of whatever I had. Probably 29 minutes because I had to walk back for the last minute. But I remember the last thing I said was God, I'm choosing you now. I know I haven't. I need you now, because if you're not involved in whatever's going on in my life, I don't know what's going to happen. And true story, that night I got a text from worship leader at our church, and he texted me and said, "Hey, do you want to come lead worship with me at Crossroads Clifton this weekend?" And I said, "Sure." I just said, "God, if this is what you want, great. If that's a door that's opening, I'll walk through it. I just want you involved." And now I'm here. Now I'm a part of Crossroads.
Now you're in Rome.
Now I'm in Rome with you.
Who'd have ever thought, right?
Crazy.
You go from that level,
Yeah.
and you're in Rome, singing in Rome,
Yeah.
and helping people worship from all across the country
Yeah.
with your songs. That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. So when you look back, would you say you were blaming God?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was blaming God. I wanted to be the next Springsteen growing up, but I knew what to pray in that moment because my heart was longing for something more than my status.
You know, one of the greatest books of worship in the Bible is Book of Psalms.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of psalm in there. It's called imprecatory psalm. It's just venting to God.
Yeah.
Just venting, and a lot of that stuff is not very. It's not very godly sounding.
Right.
And there's a form of worship that even comes out in awful things that we say to God because it presupposes there's a relationship. So yeah, maybe that was part of your highest part of worship when you were railing on God in 29 minutes. When you accused him of those things or were mad at him, did you ever say I'm sorry?
Probably said sorry later that night after I got that text. I'm pretty sure I did.
Right. No, that's okay, God. I'll apologize. Okay, it's good. So keep doing what I want you to do, and then I'll apologize and not be mad.
That's good. That's good stuff. But I think in the moment that I was yelling, I recognized that God, if I've been reducing God to what I think He's capable of my whole life.
That's deep. Wow, I like that. So our natural selves, we reduce God of what He's capable of. And when we worship, we increase in our minds what He's capable of. We increase
you're
in our
exalting,
hearts.
right?
Man, young buck, giving me something to chew on. That's really good, man. That's some really strong, seasoned perspective for you to have on worshiping and honoring God at 27. You got a great trajectory ahead of you to be able to have those concepts down. Really, brother, you're going a great way.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
You are the God who wrestles with the hearts of men. Won't you wrestle with this heart again? Won't you wrestle with my heart? You are God. Led us to the promised land. Led us through the sea on land. Won't you lead us there again? Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm here at what's known as the Temple of the Vestal Virgins. It's a place where women dedicated themselves to maintain sexual purity for 30 years. The idea was this: they would take women, young women, out of households of the nobles, and they would voluntarily give themselves for 30 years to their gods, and they would keep the fire burning. It was known as the soul of Rome. This is why you see around this place various statues of what some of these women were. And the idea was, so long as we have you people living pure lives of worship, the rest of us can do whatever the heck we want to do. So you keep yourself sexually pure, and we'll keep doing whatever we want to anybody or anything that we really feel like. As long as somebody is maintaining an attitude of worship, then the rest of us are covered. This is really a bad, bad deal. The idea that you can somehow sell off your worship, have somebody else do it for you. It just doesn't work. As we've been talking, all of us worship something. All of us fixate on something and are about something. That's why some of us, we come to the end of our lives and we're old and we get very bitter because the thing that we've given our life to, the thing that we've worshiped, it hasn't been paying back. It hasn't provided us joy and eternal satisfaction at all. It's why there's a lot of bitter older people, I believe. It's also why there's these things called midlife crises. What happens? We get in the middle of our life and the thing that we've been worshiping, bending our life around, whether it's the corporation or family or whatever it is, we find out it isn't doing it for us. Corporation has downsized us, or our position and our money isn't buying us the happiness we need. We may love our kids and may have a good family, but guess what? They move out. And so that thing we've been worshiping comes crashing down. We don't know what to do with our life. And then when we're young, this is why we try so many different things. There's so much experimentation. We're trying to find something that works for us, something that gives us an inner fire, something that gives us an inner peace, something that helps us feel a connection with the transcendent and gets us out of the grind. All of us worship something, and all of us are created by God to actually worship. The thing is, no one else can do it for us. Nobody. If I'm your pastor, I'm sorry, I can't worship for you. Your Catholic priest, he can't worship for you. If you like Hillsong worship, which is an amazing group of worshipers, they can't worship for you. Bethel, they can't worship for you. They may be able to help you in your worship, but ultimately, your worship is a choice that you make, and you alone. You alone decide whether or not you'll give your life to God. You alone decide whether or not how you go about your day-to-day life, whether it's your sexual choices, your financial choices, your educational choices, your relational choices, whether or not you do those in such a way as to reflect glory back to God and to keep the fire of your own soul burning. In the book of Romans, written to people in this culture, chapter 12, verse 1, it says this: I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. We present our bodies as worship when we go into work, saying, God, whatever happens here at work, I want to do it to honor you and glorify you. I want to have a connection with you. We present our bodies to worship when we make family plans that aren't about our Hallmark fantasies, but we make family plans to communicate to God that I want my family structure to reflect your goodness and who you are. We present ourselves as objects of worship when we manage our resources in such a way as to honor God. This is your spiritual act of worship, not hoping for somebody else to be spiritual, not hoping things that work out the way they should, but giving your life to the one true emperor, the emperor of an eternal kingdom. His name is Jesus. It's a kingdom that does not fade, and it's a worshiper that is worthy of having a relationship with Him. Let me pray for you right now. God, I pray that as we go about our day tomorrow and for the rest of our weeks and the rest of our lives, you would see that you matter to us. We want to lay our lives down on the altar of your will and your ways. We honor you from this day forward. Thank you for being an amazing King, worthy of our worship. And I pray these things according to the name and identity of Jesus. Amen.
Your love never fails me or leads me astray. It always holds on, never separate. Your love never leaves or walks another way. It always pursues, it's the reason I sing. I sing 'cause you're good, yes. I sing of your kindness, And I sing 'cause you're faithful, you never let go. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. A love for the empty, a love for the empty, the broken and shamed. You sent love with purpose, you gave him a name. You tore out your heart just to walk in my place. Now I'm a child of God with your blood in my veins. I sing 'cause you're good, yes. I sing of your kindness. And I sing 'cause you're faithful, you never let go. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. No, no. Even when I stumble and though I may fall, even when I'm broken and forced to crawl, even when I'm empty with nothing to show, I sing 'cause you're faithful, you never let go. Even when I doubt you, when though I can't see, even when the future is a mystery, even when I find myself brought to my knees, I sing 'cause you're faithful, you're so good to me. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. When I'm on my own, I'm never alone. Yeah, I am never alone. I sing 'cause you're good, yes. I sing of your kindness. And I sing 'cause you're faithful, you never let go.
Well, hey, hope you enjoyed that episode of Empires. If you haven't yet, you should jump into community at Crossroads. Two ways to do that. One, you may be watching this video and there may be a Crossroads literally right down the street from you. You can go to crossroads.net/locations and find a community near you. Or, second way, you can go to crossroads.net/connect and hop on the Connect map and find a Crossroads Anywhere community or other community members near you. It's a safe tool. You can communicate within that tool, find people, get together. So pumped you're with us. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Empires.